Alrighty, this is my third episode, and the topic today is going to be COVID-19. That's the only topic that actually stuck in my head. So that's the topic I'm going to express today based off my experience. Get it? The Cree-Cree Vá'Tee experience. Okay, moving on. So, a lot of people feel like 2020 has been the worst year for them. I beg to differ based off my experience. I feel like this is the year of confirmation for me, or rather affirmation, because I'm actually living out what has been confirmed for quite some time now. And I've meditated more than usual. Of course, been more observed more than usual, made more profound decisions more than usual. So this year has been like the great awakening for me. And there's a saying that says, don't let a good crisis go to waste or a bad crisis go to waste. It's one or the other. It's some pros and cons to that quote, because you do have money hungry, and just not even money hungry, just wicked people on this earth that use that quote to their advantage, which is a totally disadvantage to the overall public, and including themselves along down the road. So back to me. COVID-19 for me started this year in March, when I knew it was a serious case because I've been keeping up with it. Well, I had no choice. When you on social media, you find out mostly everything. I wouldn't say everything exactly, but mostly. And of course, cases was rising around March. More people started to take it serious, because I first heard about COVID around November, probably late November, early December, and it really became a big thing, especially where I'm at, St. Louis, Missouri, around March. And I was taking like classes on the campus, and so many professors was like, look, this case is rising, we're going to switch everything online. And eventually the head of the college got on board and everything switched online. So it happened pretty fast, and I was like, wow, so this situation is getting worse for us, looking at the cases and how a lot of people has been affected by it. And I would say that was when my great awakening begun, because what I thought was going to be a horrible year, just based off that, turned out to be a year of awareness, a year of healing. It's a lot of healing that happened so far since I've been, I wouldn't say on my break. I wouldn't necessarily call this a break. It's just like I'd rather say a breakthrough, because I'm going into this new chapter of mine in a more clear state of mind. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a break for me. I feel like there's no actual real break until we all transcend. There's an expiration to everything, including our present life on this earth. So I'm taking all the lessons there is to take to arrive to my destination, wherever that may be. So for as, what was the first? Well, of course, I've used this time to get to know myself. I wasn't expecting to discover what I've discovered, but at the end of the day, nothing happens for nothing. Nothing leads to something. Note that. So for me, the first step that I took into knowing myself was just looking into astrology, really. It was like, well, I have all this, I wouldn't necessarily say free time because I'm actually using that time and investing that time into myself. So I would consider that free because I'm sacrificing time that I could just be doing nothing. So I use my time wisely and just look more into astrology, and coming to find out there is some accuracy to it. Of course, I was concerned about the conspiracies to astrology and realized that I was getting a few things mixed up from astrology to witchcraft, which is like a totally big difference between the two, which I can get more into in another episode. And so I looked into astrology and found out so much. And I feel like I'm saying and a lot. So I'm going to work on that. As long as I'm not saying So when I looked into astrology, I realized there is some accuracy to it. And it helped me realize, or rather confirm actually, that it is time to move on from certain things in my life. And one of the main things I realized is when you truly grow, whether you outgrowing or growing into something, the first thing will happen is your mind will be prepared before your soul will, which is your body. Your mind will prep you for the next step that you're going to enter in. And that's what I found astounding once I really dug into myself. And just not astrology, it's just basically everything there is too. Now, I mentioned meditation a few times, even briefly in my last episode, The Makers of Me Part 2. I mentioned just a little bit about meditation. And I'm quite sure a lot of people have their different connotations to meditation. I just basically get my definitions from my operational experience in life. So I would say meditation for me is reflection. And it's also a synonym of meditation, actually. So it goes hand in hand, works perfectly. So when I meditate, I reflect. And I know there's many different ways people meditate. People meditate by listening to affirmations, motivational speakers, listening to nature. If that works for you, it works for you. As for me, I was seeking for something much more deeper. And I found reflection to be the most impactful thing to me. Remedy, healing process for me. When I reflect, I get answers that I was never expecting. That's mainly why I have the wisdom that I have today. For every wonder, there was clarification just from meditating. And I've done more of that this year just based off the time that I have due to COVID-19. So I feel like COVID-19 is, everyone should use it to their advantage. I know there's a lot of negative things within COVID, but flip those negative into positive by meditating, I would say. Like, it made me look into my health more, because not that I wasn't conscious about my health previously, because I did have an awakening, I would say probably a year or two ago. So that was way before COVID-19. But it made me just be more conscious even more. Like, I would have never thought about wearing a mask into COVID. It's crazy that it took me this long. But I'm like, it's not so bad, because anyone that know me know that one of my pet peeves, it's not my number one, but it is one of my pet peeves, is I hate when people cough And I've been that way since a little girl, before COVID was even a thought in my generation, because word has it that COVID been around for decades, just in different names. But y'all didn't hear that from me. Y'all didn't hear that from me. So, anywho, I would have never even thought to wear a mask, but now it's like I hate when people cough anyway. So I'm going to wear this mask every day of the year from now on. I don't know if I'm going to keep my word on that, y'all. Just bear with me. But most definitely, it's a lot of things I haven't thought of until COVID-19. It just made me really care about my health more. And of course, washing my hands, like everybody should have been doing that. It shouldn't have took COVID-19, but you'll be surprised. People like, wash your hands. Like, I ain't never heard you say that a day in your life, but okay. It shouldn't took COVID-19 for y'all to wash your hands out there. And I'm only talking to those who it apply to. If it don't apply, move along. So, but the mask was one of the things that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And just really paying attention to my body more, like, which I was already doing because I was diagnosed with a few things, not COVID-19. Previously, that been awakening me and made me take my health serious. So COVID-19 was just like confirmation for me to like keep doing what you've been doing, Korea. Like, I never been the type to socialize like that. And just not due to my anxiety, because I do have that. I mentioned that I have generalized anxiety. However, experience played a big part in why I don't even socialize with people like that. I say that to say this. I've been social distancing since 1996. That's the year I was born, by the way. So, go figure. So, social distancing is nothing new. Not to me. I realized that a lot of people surrounding me took it like it drives them crazy to be alone. To the point that it had an effect on me in a way, because some people get mad or feel some type of way when I'm not around them for a period of time. And it's like, you don't own me, you don't control me, calm down. You need some time alone, because if you don't feel comfortable being around you and only you, that's an issue. That's a real issue. You might need a therapist or something. But I realized a lot during COVID-19. A lot of people showing their true colors. A lot of people not used to being alone or being by themselves. And before COVID-19, a lot of people had so many distractions. You really didn't have to face reality. And I mentioned that a few months ago, if I'm not mistaken. I had posted on my Twitter that COVID-19 has forced me to face reality. I use education as an scapegoat, actually, to not face certain things that was and has been surrounding me for quite some time now. But it's like the Most High was like, nope, you're going to face whatever you've been avoiding for so long now, especially during this time. So I've been forced to face reality, and the force is not beautiful, and it wasn't meant to be beautiful. In order to face the beauty of things, you have to go through the ugly first. And that's what I've realized throughout this journey in 2020. 2020 is really the year of vision, expanding your vision beyond what you attended or what's already been displayed in front of you. And this year has been I'm telling y'all, this year has been the most intellectual year for me. And I feel sorry if no one has gained anything yet. It's only August, so there's a few more months to go. But if you leave this year empty in your spirit, then you empty everywhere else. And I hope someone gained a little something from this podcast, from this episode. Because COVID-19 really is an instructor. It's really illustrating a lot. And for those who paying attention, there's a great award awakening. awaiting. And don't miss out. It's a lot of healing out here. Don't miss out on it. And do not miss out on it. And I can touch on a few things about what I had to face. I never had a problem being alone, so that was never a problem with me. I would just use education. Like, I always had something to do when I was at home. See, let me break that down because I don't want to confuse anyone. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm so in tune with myself that I know there's a difference between the physical and the external and the internal. Let me put it that way. So I have no problem externally just being by myself. I just hate when it's quiet where I'm at. I can just easily listen to music and tune my own thoughts out. I wouldn't necessarily say thoughts, but like my imagery, my anything that's internal, I can easily tune that out unless I'm deep into a depression or something like that, which normally occurs. So I can easily just tune myself out. But like during this COVID-19, it's like you don't have homework that's due, Cree, so what are you going to do now? It's like I couldn't do anything to distract what's going on internally. I was forced to face everything internally. Like if I was feeling a certain type of way inside my head, I had no other choice but to address it. I was forced to address it. I had nothing else to do. I won't say everything. A lot of things was closed, so I couldn't just go somewhere and get my mind off certain things. I literally had to address any and everything that was going on in my mind at that current time. So I thank the Most High for allowing certain things to happen like it happened. Whether it was in the Most High plan or not, it now has became a part of the Most High plan. And look where I have landed. Like now I'm doing a podcast. I probably would never thought to do that if COVID-19 never happened, because I was so focused on finishing college just to please people. And that's the part of the reason why I've even attended college to begin with. But I can talk more about that in the different episode just based on college, because I was dwelling on just like processing, just reflecting on it internally, and was like, maybe that should be my next episode, but I'm just gonna speak how I currently feel at the moment. So COVID-19 it is. So back to what I said, because I don't want to forget. It just forced me to face everything. So I couldn't avoid what was going on internally. I can easily address everything externally wise, but to not have reasoning behind it became a big issue. And it was a stumbling block against my meditating. And when enough is enough, you'll do something about it. And hopefully it'll be the good and not the opposite of it. In my case, I decided to look at the pros to resolve any cons that may occur at that present time for me. So I would say I've definitely been less depressed, stressed, worried about things, because I feel like now, since I had so much time taken away due to COVID-19, I feel like this was a great boost for me. Boost of energy, just boost of life, boost of everything basically for me, to really exhale and really prevail and just heal from whatever I need healing from, basically. And I don't regret anything. I don't regret anything, any decision that I've made. Speaking of decisions, I decided not to go back to college for the rest of this year. Next year, yeah, if it's in the alignment of where I'm heading, then yeah, I have no problem going back. But like I said, I can elaborate on that more on a separate podcast. Not podcast, episode, excuse me. So I just feel like for me, I feel like this was what I needed. I needed time. I needed something to happen in order for me to face what was and still to this day going on internally. And I feel like now I can address things in a willing mind to, in a state of mind where I can solve rather than just dissolving the issue, rather than having a will to fix it at all. Because in most cases, especially last year, when I was going through certain things, I didn't bother to address it. I was trying to drain it out by doing so many other things. So COVID-19 has really been a healing for me, especially from the results that I've seen so far play out in my life. And not only in my life, but in certain people around me. Like, some people have such great abundance surrounding them now. Some people got new houses. My mom working on getting one. So people getting their credit right. It should have been got that right. But I can see how people got sidetracked. We live in a matrix type of world. Ain't no type, it is a matrix that we are living in, which I'm going to elaborate on that even more. That's probably going to be one of my best episodes that I do. But yeah, like I was stating, so many great things have happened for so many great people, and then there's some other people, the opposite, that's not doing so great. I see a lot of people is having troubles with their relationships. I'm like, ooh, ouch. Don't blame COVID for that. But it's like people is seeing their partners and like, I didn't know that about you. Like, yeah, COVID has set all of us down and made us all look at ourselves, and just not ourselves, but looking at those around us too. And it's like, wow. Luckily, I wasn't surprised by people behavior, because one thing about me is I'm so in tune with myself that I can now look through other people if I will to, and even if I don't want to. That's why I don't look people in the eyes, because once I look you in the eyes, I can figure you out. I might not figure you out completely, but connecting the dots will do that within itself. So I wasn't really surprised by people's behaviors. I wouldn't say COVID-19 had any effect on people's behavior. And I'm going to go back to health in a minute, but I want to finish that. People don't surprise me anymore. I feel like I've seen so much within my 24 years span of living that nothing really surprised me anymore. When new things occur, I'd be like, oh, really? Wow, let me add that to the not surprised list. So, luckily, yeah, COVID haven't really surprised me in other people's behavior. Now, I want to travel back to the health part that I was mentioning a few seconds ago, or minutes. So, back to the health thing, I mentioned mask. Like, I would never thought to wear a mask or anything. It doesn't make me uncomfortable. It makes people, I overheard people, or people would tell me like, no, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like wearing masks. I'm like, I don't have no problem around it at all. Because, like I said, I hate when people cough anyway. And I feel like I'm anemic. I hate being cold. And I would wear a mask in the house if it's too cold. And clearly people rather be cold than hot. That's not me. I'm not people. I am Cree Lynette Shannon, okay? I'd rather be hot. I don't care if it's steaming. I don't care if it's 100 degrees. I'd rather be hot than cold, because being cold, it feels like my brain cells is attacking me when I'm cold. Like every part of me just goes insane inside. And I turn red. Like the cold is not for me. That's a great way to attack me. Is to put me in some cold area. But anywho, I really haven't been really focusing on remedies and stuff like that. But I've definitely been drinking more of hot water to prevent mucus from building up in my system. I feel like that really works. Everyone is different though. Like what works for you, and what works for me, works for me. So I just been drinking a lot more of hot water. I don't know. My mom told me that when she was in school, she had a Chinese teacher that would drink hot water, and they were like, "Ew, why you drink that?" And her teacher mentioned that it I guess it boosts your health in a certain way. Either way, I feel like that it paid off for me. It worked for me. So now I can say, if someone was to ask me why I drink hot water, I can say it boosts my immune system, my energy. I don't have to worry about mucus building up. And I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because people were trying to get through. Like, no. I remember one time I did a podcast, and this fool, I ain't gonna call this person a fool because they honestly didn't know. But this person was just calling, and you heard it all through the podcast. Vibration, left and right. But anywho, back to what I was saying. See, now I forgot. That's why, I get sidetracked. Oh, hot water. Yeah, so it builds up my immune system. It prevents mucus from building up. Like I said, probably kept saying it over and over like a broken down record. And it helped with my throat. Like I feel like, someone coughed. See, I went to the dentist not too long ago. Someone coughed in my face, and I had a mask on. See, now that made me question if a mask people are so. Just because someone have a degree in something, that don't make them the smartest thing on earth. Okay, I just want to put that out there, y'all. If a mask is supposed to prevent you from getting COVID-19, then why my body was still affected by this person coughing on me? Luckily, I had enough sense to drink hot water. I didn't drink it right away. It took me 2 days. I realized that my nose kept running, and like my body was just feeling weird, all because of that person coughing near me, and I had on a mask. So I just drank hot water. I feel like that's more affectionate than that mask. I just wear a mask to prevent from being feeling like cold air is going in my nostrils, or just being around people who cough. But clearly that don't work too much work, because if you is around someone sick and you have on that mask, I feel like whatever is going in the air from them coughing is going to sink within your mask. You're like, ooh. So I would say, if you're around somebody in that coughing, just immediately walk away. If you have a second mask, put that second mask on. I don't know why people is encouraging everyone to wear masks everywhere when masks don't work all the time. Masks only help for certain different things. So, like I said, it's because some people have degree, doctors. They don't make all of them intelligent. Because I just recently talked to someone who was in the hospital, and the doctors had no clue what was going on. And it's like, what's the point of you being a doctor then? You went to school for 8 years and you mean to tell me you don't know what's going on? You don't at least have a clue? So, and that's not to shame all doctors, because not all doctors are like that. You just have to know your body well enough to know what not to encounter. Because to be honest, once you learn your body, can't nobody tell you about your body, not even a doctor. A lot of doctors are in their profession for the money. Some in their profession because they really truly have a purpose to heal others. And I salute those doctors, the ones that really genuinely is in it to heal and not to just treat a patient and have them coming back. just for your fulfillment of it. So it's been a tricky situation. If I do a part 2 on this, just because something came up. Other than that, I might not do a part 2 to this. I'm just basically, I basically did this to just, how can I put it? Just like put out my side, my experience, my point of view of COVID-19. So that's basically why I'm recording this podcast. And hopefully someone will learn from it. Hopefully. But if you don't get nothing else out of this episode, please get the mask part. Like, if somebody cough around you, immediately walk away from them. Don't sit there like I did. I was waiting for my name to be called at the dentist that I went to. And that's another thing. Like, that makes me don't want to go to certain places I really need to go to, because people know they sick and they still going out in certain areas. And it's like, really? You're going to be that selfish? You're willing to risk other people's health just for your own benefit? People, I tell you. Certain people. But yeah, have 2 masks. I would encourage people to have 2 of them. Just don't have one. And please wash your mask if it's washable. If it's not washable, please just have a box full of masks. Or something. Like, don't wear the same mask over, because you're going to build up dirt, probably bacteria, and that's going to get you sick. So please just be wise out here. Yeah, just be wise. Don't be foolish. And of course, I hate to say it, but I know it's need to be said. Please wash your hands for 20 seconds at least. I recently had someone told me, are you a doctor or something? It don't take that long to wash your hands. It takes me that long, honey. Sure. And when you count to 20 seconds, for example, be like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, or 1,000, 2,000. Just don't be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, seriously, wash your hands. A lot of people, you'll be surprised. There's a few people exist in this world that are adults. I'm not going to talk about kids now. I'm going to talk about kids in no negative way. But you adults, some of y'all wash your hands for 2 seconds and be like, all right, I'm out. What germs got out of your hand? Like, really? Okay. For real. Matter of fact, that has just inspired me to do an episode on hygiene. We're gonna talk about it all, okay? We're gonna talk about it all. In all seriousness, we're gonna talk about it all. But yeah, please wash your hands. And I'm quite sure there's other things to do as well. I'm gonna try not to talk about it all, because I'm gonna talk about veganism, food products, and all that, GMO. I want to talk about all that, just not in this episode. Eat right. Fruit would definitely build up your immune system. I mentioned chakras in my last episode. I didn't get deep into it because that episode was the makers of me part 2, obviously. So if you're really deep into chakras, you'll get what I'm about to say. Follow the color line, and the color line also plays a big part in your food chain as well. Nope. So just dig deep into that. If you don't know about it, then hold on, because I'm going to talk about chakras too. So yeah, just eat right. I'm not a vegan. There are certain meat I don't eat though, and there are certain meat I might back away from because it doesn't make me feel good physically. So I would say, please watch what you eat. Try not to eat too much fast food. I don't care if it's a vegan restaurant, because not too long ago, McDonald's, where I'm from St. Louis, and there was a certain McDonald's that was shut down because not the customers, but the 2 or 3 of the employees had COVID, and a manager passed it down to them. So I'm like, ugh. I don't eat McDonald's anyway, but still. So please be conscious, y'all. Eat at home, okay? Don't eat out unless you really need to, or that's the, I don't know. Just please be careful, y'all. I don't know what your preference is. That's what I mean. I don't know what your preference is, but just be careful, be conscious of whatever your preference is. Just be conscious. Check your food. Like I said, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you at a vegan restaurant or a meat restaurant. Just be careful, be conscious at all given times. Do not lack, especially during these times. Use this crisis as a lesson. Don't use it as a punishment, okay? Because this time, it's a great time for knowledge, to gain so much knowledge and to be alert within your experience in life. So I'm gonna leave it on that note, and until next time, y'all know the drill. I'm out.